Hello everyone and welcome back to Islands of Wanyama, episode 5. I'm yoyosmugglerr and it's great to have you guys back. We are officially just over a week into Planet Zoo here, so we're rolling right along and everything's coming along quite nicely actually. I'm very happy with the amount of progress that we got done in between episodes again. We got quite a lot done, as you'll see by the end of the episode here. There's a lot that's cut out unfortunately just because of I just still having trouble figuring out, which pieces I want to work with because I keep, looking for certain pieces in the toolbar, and I'm realizing that this is not Planet Coaster anymore. This is Planet Zoo. It's a full game, and I just keep expecting to find those, those same exact pieces in there. So yeah, a lot of that's cut out for you guys here, and a lot of it wasn't even recorded just because, I'm just trying to still fiddle around with, what I want to, what pieces I want to find, and it. Just to make matters worse, a lot of the pieces aren't recolorable, unfortunately. But once again, I hate to start these videos with ranting, but it's just one of those things that we're dealing with, and just one of those things that we have to bring attention to, unfortunately. But yeah, we start off with our little entryway here. So once again, we're basing this off of the port of entry area in Islands of Adventure. I unfortunately probably made a bad decision going with this because for those who don't know, Islands of Adventure's little port of entryway is very adventure themed. It's very, it's got a Moroccan adventure theme, and unfortunately, we just don't have anything like that in game right now. So that style is very hard to try to replicate or even get inspiration from. So I've been doing a complete mashup of the Asian theme, the Indian theme, and what's the other one I'm forgetting? I'm forgetting the other one, but there's just a couple of them, I'll remember in a minute, but there's just a couple of them that I'm trying to draw inspiration from, and it's just trying to make it work. It's kind of hard. It kind of works in the end, but it's not really up to par to where I would like, and just even with the pieces not being recolorable, we're working with what we have here. But we start off with this little trader market, I believe is what it's called, or trader something, trading company. I think it's called Islands of Adventure Trading Company in real life. But it's a big old gift shop, and it runs from the actual entrance to the the actual entrance area to the park all the way down to the end of the entrance area. So once you get down to the end, you can either split left or right, and it feels like it's a mile long there. So it's right there at the exit and the entrance. So of course, it's one of those things where they're trying to get you to buy stuff as you're coming out. If there's something you didn't buy in the park itself, I guarantee they have it right in that area there. But it's an awesome store. Even inside of it's really cool. And so I've always wanted to build something like this in Planet Coaster or Parkitect, but I just have never gotten around to actually building Islands of Adventure. So that's another reason why I went ahead and wanted to base my zoo entrance off of this area as well, because just kind of scratch that itch for me there and kind of be able to cross that off my bucket list. So we go ahead and we just add in some more detail here. So as you saw, we went ahead and added in a custom wall. Just because once again, just trying to get away from the actual wall pieces itself, because just not happy with the amount of pieces that we have as far as which ones are recolorable. So just trying to use different textures and not use the same wall pieces over and over again, and it's already getting pretty difficult. Once we get past this entryway though, I don't think we should have that much of a problem, since like most of our buildings that we'll be building will probably have something to do with either food shops or bathroom stalls, or like excuse me, worker facilities, or even like animal buildings themselves for their habitats. So it shouldn't be anything too stressful, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we're just throwing in some of these little glass panel awnings here. I love the way these look. The building in real life has something very similar to it, different design but very similar shape to it. So once I was looking at reference images of it, I was like, oh my gosh, we have that exact piece in the game almost. So very happy to use that there. We throw those big chains up there. I know they technically don't need the chains, since this piece has the I don't know what that piece is called there, but it's got the piece under the bottom of the actual awning itself that rests up against the wall there, so it technically doesn't need the chain support, but they have the chain support in real life, and it kind of goes along with the theme, so I wanted to definitely go ahead and throw it in there. So now we're jetting off to the side here. I really wanted to get this little angle in because I try to stay away from square buildings as much as I can. So we angle this at a 15-degree, and then we separate it from the actual building itself. And this is where this building starts getting a little tricky because once again we're not using wall pieces other than basically just these little archways here that I'm placing now. Just using those as kind of like guidelines and just trying to line everything up, making sure everything will go smoothly together. Spoiler alert, it doesn't go smoothly, of course, and a lot of that's cut out so you don't have to watch it because it is. I thought about leaving it in there, but I went ahead and watched it myself, and I was like, nope, this is not good content at all. So yeah, we go ahead and cut a lot of that out, unfortunately. Yeah, just a lot of copying and pasting at this point, just trying to get those pieces down. Not exactly what those pieces are called, but as you can see, I'm still having that bug where the textures don't want to load in until they're placed for a while. So the textures come in and they come and go still. I'm not sure what the issue is. I was hoping that they did release a patch today, and I was hoping that may have helped it, but unfortunately didn't help me at all. So still struggling with that there, but we're rolling with it because, like I said in the past episode, once it's down for a little bit, they come in just nicely anyway. So we just have to deal with it when we're placing the pieces and hope that it looks all right in the end here. And now we're going to go ahead and create some custom pillars for these arches, just because I'm not happy with the way these arches look in itself, or by itself. We go ahead and we wind up using the Asian pole, the big thick pole. I really love the shape that the pole gave us there. Fiddle around with some of the Indian pieces just to see if that's what we're going to go for. But then I find this big, nice round pole, and we're going to go ahead and go with that. I believe in person it's really thin as well, so I definitely are like thin in between the actual poles itself, so I wanted to make sure we had a thick pole in there, so that way we could try to replicate that, give it a solid base as well. Let's get forward a little bit just to copy and paste those pillars over. That was another pain because they were all wanting to, this was actually before the X bug was fixed, so as of today the X bug, or as the time you're watching this, it should have been tomorrow, the patch was released, so the X bug was fixed then. But yeah, just trying to copy and paste those over, and everything wasn't aligned on the grid, so that took a while as well. But we start working on the upper top here, and I really love how this upper portion came out. So very, very Moroccan feeling with those tiled roof pieces there. We go ahead and change those colors to a less vibrant color, because that red right there is pretty assaulting. And we go ahead and we finally use these mud walls here for the first time, and I really love the texture on the mud walls. Unfortunately, they don't have a forest piece wall without the actual graphic on them. It's kind of got like an African tribal graphic. So we go ahead and we use a 2-meter height one, and then a 1-meter height one as well. And so that actually gives some force perspective also. So it kind of looks taller than it actually is when you're down at peep level. And zoos don't really use force perspective all that much. That's more of a theme park type thing. Some zoos will use it here and there just to, if it's something that they're trying to either bring attention to or get rid of attention or whatever. But like I said, it's more of a theme park strategy as well, just trying to either hide stuff or just make everything feel a little bit more bigger than it actually is. But really love the way that this turned out with the force perspective. It definitely, once you see the finished product, it definitely looks a lot taller than it actually does. So very happy with that as well here. Just adding on these little end pieces, or the edge pieces to the tiling. I always forget to have those on, so I was like, oh, here we go. Caught them, had to get them on before I forgot. We go ahead and we add this little, I want to say it's a trestle of some sort. I'm not exactly sure what the exact terminology is for it, but this little jet out, circular area, windowed area. I'm not, like I said, I can't think of the actual name of the type of architect that is right there. But I went ahead, and there's a pretty big hard cut right there. I was going to try to go ahead, and I tried for about 30 minutes to make a custom one out of other just brick pieces that we had, or art shapes that we had, and just trying to use as much pieces that I could, and it was just not working with me at all. So I went ahead and just did the base Indian shape up that we have there. And while I was trying to do that, I was also trying to work on this clock tower that we have going on here right now. That you can see that it just showed up out of nowhere. You know, with that being similar shape to the little trellis piece there. I'm gonna keep calling it a trellis. I don't know if that's what it's called or not, but just so you guys know what I'm referencing. But yeah, since it's roughly the same shape, I was having a little bit of an issue building that as well. So spent about a good hour going back and forth on some pieces there, trying to figure out what looks best for it. And I was kind of happy with how that turned out, actually. I found that little elephant, I'm not sure, it's like an elephant stand or something, but I flipped that upside down, and that's got those pink and blue designs on them with that pink ring around them. And that just kind of gave the tower a little bit more detail that I was looking for. So we go ahead and basically finish up the main entrance building here, or the main gift shop building here, and we go ahead and start on one of my favorite pieces so far of this park. And I just really loved how this turned out. It's not completely done yet, just because I haven't actually started on the right side of the entrance plaza yet. We're going to go ahead and probably save that for next episode. So I didn't want to get this completely done or completely finished, just because I'm not sure exactly of what direction I'm going to take that right side yet. But I wanted to get kind of, you know, about 75% of the way there, just to kind of give you an idea of what I was going to be working with next time. But we try to emulate that welcome bridge that Islands of Adventure has with the rock work, and it turns out really, really nicely. There's some really great guest interaction with it as well. So we're just going to go ahead and place down a few rocks here and just kind of fill this out, try to make it a little bit more, not necessarily natural, but more of, you know, that deterioration look, like it's falling apart. So just a lot of rotating rocks just here and there, trying to see what fits best. I really love those rock pillars, those circular rock pillars that are like 2 and 4 meters long. Those help out a ton. Problem with this though is that, like I said in the past episodes, I've wanted to do certain building pieces with rock work and you know, kind of jagged edges like this, and it just the rocks are just a little bit too big. And the way to get smaller rocks is by sinking them into the ground. Well, if you're trying to do something like, you know, on something on top of a building or something on top of a walkway like this, you can't really sink them into anything, so you're kind of stuck with working with what you got. So that's pretty much why it's about 75% done here, just because I'm not fully set on the actual rock locations themselves. I just want to try to get like I said, just a base layout in there. We go with a one pathway wide, so I think that's about 4 meters wide initially, and I was like, nah, it's just not looking right, it looks a little thin. So we go ahead and we thicken that up to 2 pathways wide, so 8 meters wide, and we just basically copy and paste that over. And then I think I change up a couple of rocks here and there just to give it a little bit different variation. And this is going to be one of my favorite parts of this archway here. So we go ahead and we add in some of these breeze block walls. I soon change it to the actual there we go, the dry stone, and then we throw in the windows as well. I'm just trying to get that evened up then with the actual terrain, because the rocks themselves weren't actually flush with the ground, so we throw in a cosmic cow just to kind of give it that depth and just try to line it all up correctly. Poor guy's job didn't last very long, huh? But there we go, there's my favorite part. So we go ahead and we add in an actual vet clinic, or vet research center, whatever it's called, just where they do the surgery on the actual animals. So that'll be really cool for guests to walk in. They'll be able to actually look into those windows and see the vets doing the work on the animals. So I thought that was a really, really great guest interaction idea, especially since these buildings are probably going to house some of the actual faculty staff anyways. And then on the left hand side there, we just throw in some windows because we're going to be able to see inside of our gift shop. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of interior on this, just because, like I said, after the cafe, I'm just not a fan of doing the actual interior on buildings, just because it bogs down your computer a little too much for my liking, and it takes up a lot of time, and it's something that you're just never going to see a whole lot. So for the most part, we're probably going to skip it. We'll just do some bare minimum detail if we need to, and we just do that basically right here, just the bare minimums. Just throw in some signs, just kind of give it some detail, and then we throw in an awning or two, or yeah, 2 awnings with the with 2 shops here, and we throw on a couple facades as well. And then right before we jumped in here, I'm not sure if you saw, but we added in a tower as well, right behind this building that connects to the actual bridge overpass there. There you go, with all the ivy on top of it. Really loved how that turned out. I'll give you guys a better look at that in the actual live portion. That was just another thing that just kind of was gonna, try to play around with and try to get an idea before I actually started recording on how I wanted to build it, but it just kind of came to me real quick, and I just went ahead and knocked it out of the park, and I wasn't recording, unfortunately. But yeah, and there we go, another cut, and we added on another little building there next to the left-hand side of our gift shop. So all these buildings right now, besides the gift shop, are basically just kind of facades at this point. I'm not exactly sure of what I want to fill in here. We're going to go ahead and probably do a lot of, like I said, the faculty staff buildings on the left and the right hand side of both of the pathway there. So just depending on how many faculty staff buildings we need, we'll decide then on what we want to do. So for the most part, I'm going to leave the back of the actual buildings open until we decide, when we want to. But yeah, so this is the third build or fourth building, I guess, sort of fourth or fifth. I'm not even sure that we start working on. It goes through a lot of changes, so I actually cut out a lot of going back and forth on this building. As you can see, it starts out with this ugly yellow color because we went ahead and tried to replicate that yellow color that the actual building in Islands of Adventure has, and I had to pick a piece that was recolorable, and this was one of them that I was okay with, that I haven't used the texture of, and there's probably a reason I haven't used this texture very much, because it's not that great of a texture. But yeah, so that's basically going to do it for the time-lapse, guys. We're going to go ahead and jump into the real-time portion, and there's going to be a major difference from what you're seeing here, so I'll see you guys in just a bit. Alright guys, and here we are in the live portion here, so you can kind of already see the difference that we got going on from our time-lapse portion here. So we're going to go ahead and just go right into the middle of our gate here. So as you can see right off to the left already, there's a lot of foliage done already. We already got this building off to the right-hand side. I know I said in the time-lapse I wasn't going to start it until next episode, but I just kind of wanted to get a generic shape down and kind of a base shape, just to kind of give me an idea for where I want to start next time. I was just feeling a little inspired there. But yeah, we got a lot of foliage done. And then you can kind of see off here to the left where that big ugly yellow building has changed into. Very happy with how this, I wouldn't say I'm happy with how this turned out. I'm happier than what it was in the time-lapse. I'm still not 100% sure on it. I feel like it's missing just a little bit more detail or something. I just spent a lot of time this week trying to figure out what it was missing. I just kind of went back and forth and deleted a whole bunch of stuff. So I may go back and just edit that a little bit more. Just looking at it already, we got to add on these edge pieces. Told you in the time lapse I was gonna forget them here, and actually looks like did I forget them on this too? No, it looks like those guys have them. But yeah, happy with how this building turned out. I'll give you guys a closer look at this building since we didn't actually get to see it being built. It's just pretty simple. There's nothing behind it. It's just plain and empty right now. There's a staff path right here though. Because like I said, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and throw maybe just like some water or some power, since we're going to need so much of that regardless. So we'll probably just throw some of that back here. But yeah, so this building is, in real life, it's a stroller rental. So we don't actually have the option of renting strollers or anything like that. So I just kind of put that sign up there for stroller rentals. And I also went ahead and threw in some ATMs as well, because we don't actually have any in the park at the moment. So that's basically what this building is going to serve as. And then off to the left here, got some more foliage. But we got this awesome building. So this is going to be our bathroom, on the way out the exit here. So I really love how this kind of meshes with our current exit gate kind of thing here. This is another thing that took inspiration from Islands of Adventure, but very happy with how this turned out. Use forced perspective again to where it just looks a lot taller than what it actually is. It's still a pretty decently tall building, but we're trying to keep the scale here because our entrance building isn't very tall actually, if you guys can tell from last episode, and it's just not very much taller than that either. So yeah, so we had in real life they have this waterworks type thing, and it's kind of got this cool wave effect to it, but they have it on the actual tower part itself. I really like this Indian window piece, so I went ahead and threw that there instead of they have a window on this piece, but it is a little bit smaller, and just a small window kind of looks weird with it, so I went ahead and threw that big Indian piece on there. But I wanted to get that waterworks in there, so I went ahead and threw it over to the left here because this wall was just kind of barren anyways. And then off to the left is just some more planting just to hide the back of it, and actually, like I said, it's just a facade for now, so just depending on what we do over here with the actual zoo itself, that's when that building will take its final shape probably. Yeah, but just a lot of plant work, unfortunately. Oh god, I despise the plant work in here. As you know, try to avoid it as much as I can, but eventually it's just got to be done. But I went ahead and threw some plants in there. I kind of mixed up some of the temperate plants with the tropical plants, so I know that's not part of the whole realism, aspect of it, but planting is always going to be one of my weaker suits, unfortunately. But I try to stick to, a certain amount of plants, and just kind of always have an idea of what direction I want to go with the plants. But really like how these the plant beddings themselves turned out as far as like the borders go. Those are just like the Indian wooden beams, I think, and they're just sunk all the way into the ground, and then they're shifted up or down for height variation. So yeah, so this is our trading company gift shop here at the exit. Really love how this turned out, especially with this stone building here and the ivy. It looks so good. I'm so happy with that. And then kind of see in here and just see that it's unfinished still, but that's our gift shop. Like I said, bare minimal interior there. And then off to the right, just so excited for this to come together. You're going to see our vet's office here, so that's just going to be so cool for the guests to see. I would love to see that, and if I walked into a zoo right away and just saw that, that'd be so awesome. But yeah, so this is going to be our main building that connects it as well, so we'll basically come down here and almost not do the same exact buildings, but we're going to try to wrap it and then try to get it to cut off right around here as well, so it'll have that full arch shape. So let me go ahead and get out a Tejicam here so that way we can just get a broad overview of how much work we got done. So we got all this done, and it feels like we didn't get a whole lot though, to be fair. It feels like I did a lot of work, but I feel like I definitely had done more than what I actually did. But that's Plaza Zoo for you, so what my initial idea was going to be with this whole bridge here, just because I kind of wanted this to be interactive. I'm thinking about possibly adding a train station over, not a station, but a train track over it. So if we want to go ahead and do that, I wanted to keep this as simple as possible, so that way we could just either cut this out or have the train be able to run through it at some point. So that's why this part right here may get moved back a little bit in case we want to do that. But yeah. That's basically an overview of how much we got done. So, little exit entrance. Unfortunately, it's sad because probably not a whole lot of guests are going to use this area over here unless they have to go to the bathroom or the ATMs. So I don't believe there's any bathrooms other than the ones down here. I think that's the closest restroom. So as the guests are leaving, I'm hoping they have to come over here to use this restroom, and then once they leave, they'll walk out through there. So that was my mindset of putting those over there. So hoping that's how they work, with the Pathfinder system and all that. But yeah, I'm just very happy again with the amount of work that we've gotten done, especially within the first week of Planet Coaster. It's looking really good. I'm very surprised with how well I was able to kind of not necessarily replicate the Islands of Adventure area, but just kind of how much I was able to take inspiration from it and actually roll with it without getting stuck here. So yeah, our entrance plaza is looking really good, and I'm very excited for next episode. I've already got some ideas going in my head what we're going to do, and what direction we're going to take with it. So I think that's going to wrap up this episode, guys. So be sure to leave a like and a comment and let me know if you enjoyed something or if you did enjoy something. And of course, subscribe for more Planet Zoo content in the near future. Take care, guys. See you soon.